Alrighty, for science today, we are actually starting with the evaluate. It's kind of the last part of our whole module. So on workbook page 166 and 167 is going to guide us through our research. And our guy says we're actually studying mouse fur color inheritance. What are we studying?
Mouse fur color inheritance.
And he says conduct research to determine whether the fur color in mice is an inherited trait. And so what we're really asking ourselves is, do mice get their fur color from their parents?
Yes.
Stand up if you think yes. Well, most of you think yes, they do. Stand up if you think no. Okay, a handful of you. Go ahead and have a seat. The first question says, you're going to ask a question. What question will your research help to answer? Well, that's what we kind of just said, right? Think about something that you're going to have to ask in order to find out if their fur color is inherited or not. Who's got a question that we could list at the top of 166? What's one way that we can find out if their fur color is inherited or not? Brielle? So maybe one question that we're going to have to ask is, what is the fur color of their parents? Or what fur color or colors do their parents have? That's a good question. This will go at the top of 166. What fur colors do their parents have? That would be a great way for us to decide, well, if they've got the same, we get a pretty good idea that it must be inherited. So you guys are writing this question, that's what we have to think about. What fur colors do their parents have? Write it right here. Top of 166 is where it has the place for us to write this question down. Oh, actually, it's right here on these lines. What fur color or colors do their parents have? Go ahead and read the next step in our communicate information section. What's the next step that they give for us? Brielle.
It says make an argument.
Make an argument. So whenever we're trying to do research, we're not actually arguing with people, but scientists have to do that. They have to say, like, hey, here's what we think. So we start asking ourselves questions like, what fur colors do their parents have? And then we have to make that argument. So, like, do you stand by this? What do you need to know? What have you already found in past research? So can you relate something to fur color that we've already looked at in our classroom? What's kind of similar to fur color that we've already talked about? Macy? Hair color. Would you agree that fur is pretty similar to hair? So we can make an argument based off of that. Information that we found in our research. Do we get our hair color from our parents?
Yes.
How many of you think yes? I hope you do, because we've discussed this. That hair color is a trait. Now, is your hair color always the same as both of your parents? No. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. So, we can say, though, for your evidence, it's that we could say we've found that humans get their hair color from their parents, right? And so we might think that mice might get their fur color from their parents. Go ahead and write that down in your step 1, making an argument. So for step 1, you can list humans get hair color from parents. Maybe mice get fur color from their parents. That would be in step 1 here. Oh, let's go ahead and draw her over here. Or if you got time, you can rewrite it. Humans get hair color from their parents. Maybe mice get their fur color from their parents. Step 1, Skylar. Humans get their hair color from their parents. Maybe mice get their fur color from their parents. Because that's kind of the extent of our research. We haven't read anything about mice fur so far. We just have seen that picture, right? We know that hair is a physical trait because it's something that you can see, you can touch, you can feel, and it's something that's on the outside, like your eye color, your hair color, your freckles, your hairline that we talked about. If I flash my mice picture up again, are there any other physical traits that you can describe about these mice?
They're little.
Other than the color of their fur, what is another physical trait that you can describe from these mice? Braylon?
How long their tails are.
Ooh, maybe tail length. I'm gonna jot these to the side so you guys can get these too. So this would be step 2. Do you think that the mice in the picture have any other physical inherited traits, and what might they be? So Braylon had one smart one. She thinks maybe their tail length could be an inherited trait. What's another physical trait that you think they could have inherited? Landon?
Their paws.
What about their paws?
Their big boy paws.
Oh, do you think all mice have pink paws, or maybe some of different colors? Okay, so maybe paw color. I don't know if we call it a paw for mice or not. Now you've got me wondering. Feet color, you could say.
I know.
What's another thing, based on their appearance, that you think could be a little bit different in between different mice based on what they inherited from their parents? Riley? Oh, how long they live? We would call that like their lifespan.
No.
Is that a physical trait, something that you can see?
No.
So we won't list that one, but I like where you're thinking. What's something else they could have inherited from their parents that we can see as a physical trait? Addison?
I have 2.
Okay.
The size of their ears.
Their size.
And their hairness.
Is that something that we can measure scientifically? No, but it is probably something that some of you think about the mice. I would list ear size. Rylan, did you have another? Oh my! Ooh, check your sidebars.
Yeah, one time I killed a frog on accident.
Why?
Me too.
Why?
Rylan, what was another physical trait that you thought
Why is their tail color as the same as their feet color?
Oh, so maybe you even think the color of their tail could change. So maybe not just tail length, but maybe tail color. If you think of another one, go ahead and list it down on your lines for number 2.
Down in the comments. People say bad things in my comments.
So if you're looking now at the top of page 167, it says, think about this photo. This is the gray mouse and the white mouse. Use them as examples to explain things that can affect their traits. We've learned about getting traits from our parents. Where else can we get traits from? It's not just from our parents. What else affects the ways that we act? Different things about ourselves. Our DNA comes from our parents. We've learned about inherited traits and learned traits.
That's what I was gonna say.
What would be a learned trait that these mice could get?
Eat cheese.
Jay, thank you for your GTA. Do you want to pause? I'm looking for learned traits. So like, for example, I learned how to be a better passer in volleyball because I kept practicing. I learned from a coach, and I did drills. What's something that these mice could have learned to do? It's not something that they were just born doing. It wasn't inherited. Keegan?
Scratch their body all the time.
Okay. Why would that be an important trait?
If they have a lot of pixels on them.
So maybe not even just scratching it, but keeping their body clean. So maybe learning how to, can we say like bathe? Mice bathe a little bit differently, but that's something that we certainly learn, and mice would have to learn how to bathe. Bathe has an E on the end. So that's our first one here. They would have to learn how to bathe. Go ahead and jot that one down. Can you think of another thing they would have to learn, Riley? Okay, so this would be an example of a survival instinct, right? So explain to me some things that they would have to learn to maybe expand that lifespan you were talking about. They can live longer if they learn how to do what? How so, though? What do they... Gunner, please stop playing with your tools. Say that again. Oh, so maybe, they can learn how to sniff out food?
Yeah.
So I'm going to put quotes so I don't have to write learn every time. Learn how to sniff out food. That would be a great trait to help them survive. If they can sniff out food better, if they hone in their sniffer skills. Addison, what's something else that you think these mice are going to have to learn how to do so that they can survive? Ooh, they can get faster. Absolutely. That would be an important thing because if they're faster, they can get away more quickly to stay safe. That's smart. What's that, Savannah? Well, is that a learn? Do you think that someone had to teach the mice how to walk?
No.
I think that would be an inherited trait, kind of like humans. We don't actually teach them to walk. They don't start doing it. They learn it from their environment. We start building in that. But look at mice. Mice have 4 feet. If their mom didn't sit there and be like, okay, take a step. We are presuming that we are inside today. If it changes, if I hear anything else, I'll let them know, okay? So, I'm curious, based on what we've learned, based on what we've talked about. Let's wrap this with, it says, explain the things that can affect their traits. We're going to put this in a bubble at the bottom. Traits come from... Tell me one thing that our traits come from. Skylar. Parents. Which I heard someone earlier describe as DNA. DNA would be those genes that we get from our parents. So parents, comma. Where else can we get traits from? So family members, that would be kind of included, yep. Hendrix? Your genes come from your parents. So, if you're saying something is a trait that's similar to a grandparent, your parents passed that on to you, right? Because your grandparents would have passed that trait on to your parent. Your parents are who passed it on to you. How else though? Not all of our traits are inherited. Let's put after parents, would you write the word inherited so that we remember that inherited traits in her it Ted. So next to parents, put inherited to remember that any trait that is inherited or passed down to you is going to come from your parents. But not all traits are inherited. Some traits are learned, and we can get those from where, Brielle? Okay. Environment. That's kind of a funky word. Some of those learned traits come from our environment. Like, we're gonna be reading about these. Oh, nope, that's in our survival stuff. I have some extra reading stuff since we're kind of ahead in science that I could totally pull for you guys in the mornings. There's some extra fun little research reads that are kind of interesting. There's one about pea plants. There's one about, there's one about another animal. I'll have to look and remember what it is. Oh, lemurs, I think would be a fun one. And we don't just call them learned, but they can also be considered like behavioral, right? Some of those are inherited, some of those are learned. But let's go ahead and add behavioral. Or just behaviors.
My dad's naughty.
And when you're done jotting that down, you will be all caught up for science today. Online girls, I'm not going to make you put these in your slides today. As long as you're writing it down in your workbook, that helps that you're on track and you're getting ready for our quiz. And I will be putting more material on the next day for science, okay?